Welcome to Ryan Watches a Movie. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today we got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey.
We're also joined by Ryan Holes. Hey, Ryan. If this is your first time tuning in, Kevin and I are challenging ourselves to find movies that Ryan likes in the hopes that we'll reach a coveted 10 out of 10. You can join in the conversation by sending your movie suggestions for Ryan to podcast@filmpulse.net or by sending me a DM on Twitter @filmpulsenet. If you like the show, or even if you don't, please be sure to check out the Frederick's Ataxia Research Alliance website at curefa.org. Now, Ryan, what movie did we have you watch this week?
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man. So last time we met, we decided to give you a sci-fi movie, and we went with Demolition Man from 1993. I have a synopsis here. A police officer is brought out of suspended animation in prison to pursue an old, ultra-violent nemesis who is loose in a non-violent future society. The stars Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes and Sandra Bullock. Ryan, tell us a little bit about Demolition Man.
Alright, so basically there's a cop, and in the 90s he's after a criminal. And after a little ordeal, they both get chronologically frozen. And then sometime in the future, the criminal gets unfrozen. And they unfree Sylvester Stallone to deal with them. And there's some little thing in there about dealing with adapting to the future, and there's many other little things. Basically, that's it. There's a criminal, he gets frozen and unfrozen, and they unfreeze the cop that got frozen with him to deal them.
Okay. So my first question is, have you seen this movie before?
I think I have, but I don't remember that much. Or didn't remember that much.
Okay. Kevin, have you seen this movie before?
I think so, but I don't remember anything. So I'm going to say no. It's a no.
I've seen this movie a couple times. I feel like I've watched it fairly recently, like maybe within the last few years.
Is this in your routine? Is this
It's in my rotation.
Demolition Man? Everything comes like every 3 years? Like Demolition Man time.
I really enjoy movies like this, so I have seen it a number of times. But I wouldn't say it's on any kind of like regular rotation for me. But Ryan, what did you think of Demolition Man?
Well, it didn't, from what I remember, it didn't hold up till now.
Oh, no.
There's some pretty terrible acting, pretty unfunny one-liners. But Sandra Bullock made me laugh a lot because she really struggles to deal with everything in the future, especially her, I guess we can call them one-liners. She fucks them up all the time. That makes me laugh every time.
Just fucking up one-liners left and right.
At one point, she said she's gonna blow the bad guys away, but she just says, I'm gonna blow you. It's just awkwardly funny to me. Like, she has no idea what she's saying. She's just coming off of what she heard. She's just coming off of what she thinks the listeners will.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because he's not from that time.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah, this was a pretty early role for old Sandy Bullock. This is before Speed. I feel like Speed is really her breakout. She was in a couple movies and TV shows before this, but this was kind of before she really hit her stride. This is peak Wesley Snipes, though.
Yes. Which I didn't notice when looking at his credits here. I didn't realize that like Major League was like his first kind of big movie. I thought he was already kind of established when Major League came out.
Yeah, so did I, actually. Man, he was great in Major League.
He's great in everything. He still is.
Well, it's funny because, Dolomite is My Name came out, and that was the first time I've seen him in quite a while at all. I mean, in a movie at all, let alone one like a comedy. And in that movie, it reminded me how funny he can be in his roles. And if I remember correctly, he's kind of he's the bad guy in this movie, but he's also kind of got a bit of a 90s attitude about him. Am I correct in remembering that, Ryan?
He knows that so much as Stallone, I would say he knows too.
A lot of 90s tude.
They
got a little bit of a tude. Got that Simon Phoenix tude.
Wesley Snipes is the quintessential badass in this. He's like the big action guy that you remember from the 90s. Like, he plays that role very well.
The funny thing is to think about, so this came out in 93. Stallone, at this point, has been an action guy for like, I don't know. When did the first Rocky come out? Like 79 or something? Like
76, I think.
76, yeah. So he's been doing these like action roles so long by this point. Like he was already, it felt like he was at like kind of the sunset of his action career, but no, like he had plenty more in the tank.
Oh yeah. He still did, a couple more Rambos, a couple Rockies, got over the top.
The Expendables.
A couple years after. Cliffhanger.
Oh yeah, Cliffhanger. I still unabashedly love that movie. I never saw Oscar. I want to see the movie Oscar by John Landis, the one that he plays Snaps Provolone. Snaps Provolone.
Oh, sorry. We're done. I can't.
Now, Ryan, comparing this to other sort of sci-fi movies of this ilk, you have Johnny Mnemonic. Remember that one? You have Judge Dredd. You have, there was just one I thought of and it just left me. Total Recall. Where does this stack up to those maybe mid to like late 80s sci-fi throughout the 90s?
From the ones I remember, this was better back then.
Better back then. So you're saying that...
I haven't seen that recently, so I don't know. I only saw this recently.
Well, I remember Judge Dredd being very bad. I recall liking Johnny Mnemonic, but I don't think that one is probably as good as this one.
What was that one that we rented at your house?
What could that be?
that narrows it down.
Your stepmom rented it. It might have been Johnny Mnemonic.
Chain Reaction?
Yeah,
That's not even a sci-fi movie, really. There were maybe sci-fi elements, but I think it was more just like an action movie. Keanu was in it, but I think that was just more of a regular action movie. What about Gattaca? Remember Gattaca?
Oh yeah, Gattaca.
How does this compare to Gattaca?
I don't remember that movie at all.
What?
What about Minority Report?
That was alright, but that was like, wasn't that like 8 years later or something?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that came out quite a while later. But I mean, well, you can still compare them. I mean, what is the
No, I just like that he's like, no, that's too far out.
yeah, I mean,
That's 8 years. So what the fuck, Adam?
you can't compare movies if they're that far apart.
No, he's talking chain reaction.
It's a different generation now, but I don't know, they just look different. Like different CGI, different everything.
I guess. I mean, certainly the CG was different. I will agree with you there. We almost gave you the movie Strange Days by Kathryn Bigelow, which came out in '95. I'm a huge fan of this movie. It takes place at the in 1999, and it's like right at the around New Year's, about to be the year 2000. And the only downside with this movie is that with Strange Days is it's like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, that was the thing that I know.
Yeah, that was the thing that gave me pause in picking it for you. I think
That's automatic negative.
No, not doing it.
I think you'd
Too
like.
long.
I think you would definitely like Strange Days. What about comparing Demolition Man to The Matrix?
I like the Matrix way better.
Way better. Okay.
Way better. What?
Well, at least the first one made a third one.
I tried watching the second Matrix 2 separate times, and I fell asleep both times, and that was it. Like after the second time I fell asleep, I was like, okay, well, clearly these Matrix sequels are not for me. I haven't seen the original Matrix in a really long time.
I don't think they work for anybody.
Yeah, the problem with those Matrix sequels is that they decided to expand the lore like way too much. And it was just like, no, it was fine the way it was. The fact that you're going so deep into this lore and then you start to have like political councils, you have scenes involving councils and stuff, and you're just like, nah, this is too
Why
much.
does that always happen? Anytime they try and go deeper, they just add councils and committees.
I don't know. I don't know, but it just doesn't work. That's
like,
why
who wants that?
That's why
Who's asking for that?
every time they announce a new John Wick movie, I'm always like, oh man, is this going to be the one where they introduce the council and they just totally ruin this franchise?
Goddamn Hitman Senate.
Thankfully, they haven't done that yet, and they've only like each of the two sequels has only given you small little morsels, and they haven't gone crazy with it yet.
John Wick 4 is just going to be nothing but policy votes. That's it. It's going to be John Wick lobbying.
Yeah, there's going to be some sort of council vote. You know it.
Hey, Brian, did you notice, going through the cast here, it looks like we have a young Jack Black in Demolition Man. Did you spot Jack Black as a wasteland scrap?
I did not, but I saw
Dennis Leary?
no, here's the governor.
Oh, Jesse Ventura?
Yeah.
The Cryucon?
And that was right after they made fun of Schwarzenegger being president.
That was a joke in this movie?
Yeah.
Is that one of the one-liners that didn't land for you?
Here's like a president in, I think it's at the early 2000s or mid 2020. I'm not sure, it was right before, but I remember them talking about it.
So in the future of Demolition Man, Schwarzenegger is the president. Am I correct?
They talk about it,
Okay. So President
yeah.
Schwarzenegger is overseeing the nonviolent future society.
When
And
once the Lord comes back, they fill in on all the previous history, and that's one of them. Schwarzenegger was president. Yes, he's like, oh, an actor was president, and then 5 minutes later, so they show Jesse Ventura. It was ironic and it made me laugh.
Did Rob Schneider make you laugh?
Rob Schneider barely ever made me laugh. I like the first Deuce Bigelow.
God, I forgot about this. Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo.
And I know that movie is terrible overall, but just his goofiness makes me laugh.
Man, Rob Schneider.
He was a thing. I can't believe that was like he had a fucking steady career.
His time on SNL was good, for the most part.
It shouldn't have.
Also give high fives, but in the future, there's no physical contact, so they just both raise their arms up and like smack them in midair, but don't touch.
Clearly, this is like some kind of future where Trump was never president.
This is the year I found it. It's the year 2032.
And I don't want about shit. It's no better than him being president.
So it sounds like this takes place in a future where all those liberal snowflakes took over. Can't even touch each other anymore.
Pretty much.
All those liberal snowflakes.
The main guy, the main doctor, he pretty much controls everything. And everyone looks on him as a savior. Like, there's a guy, and he had to bring in Wesley Snipes back to life, or unfreeze him, and Wesley Snipes points a gun at his head, but he uses like a Jedi mind trick to not let him get shot. And then later on the movie, he does get shot instantly. And now that made sense to me.
Why does he wake him up? I don't remember.
Just because he wants to control everything. And they kind of worked at first, but then everything goes haywire.
Because you can't control Simon Phoenix.
Well, they get him first, but then he loses control.
How's the action?
It's alright. There's some ass kicking.
All right. What about the technology? Was there any technology that was on display that would later become real?
The only thing I can think of right now is Wesley Snipes gonna, like, I guess it would be like a light gun, and it shoots basically a lightning bolt, like a harnesses all this energy, and it's like a BFG and Duke Nukem.
Well, BFG is Doom, but It's like a rail gun.
Yeah.
I think that's what those are. Rail guns.
Railguns? Railguns are a thing?
I
I
think
get
believe
railgun?
they call it railgun.
I think they are real.
Well, I'm shopping for railguns right now.
Yeah, it's a device that uses electromagnetic force to launch high velocity projectiles by means of a sliding armature that is accelerated along a pair of conductive rails.
But can I get a railgun? It looks like just the Navy has a railgun.
Yeah, I don't think you can get a rail gun.
Let me put personal in front of railgun real quick. Hit the enter button. Oh, it looks like somebody made a railgun.
The ones I'm looking at are huge.
They also try to outlaw all regular pistols. Well, all guns in general. They're all at a museum.
So the future is run by a bunch of beta male cucks.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
For those listening, I'm kidding, by the way. I want to make it very clear that I'm using a lot of cynicism in my comments just now.
I don't know why, but those words, when I hear them together, just make me laugh.
I know. I love saying it because it's the most ridiculous thing ever. So I say it a lot. I was just reading something on Twitter about how a lot of people apparently say that, and we shouldn't, because it like you start to say it as a joke, and it remains a joke, but it just enters your like everyday vernacular, and it's probably not a good idea. All right, Ryan. Any final thoughts before we give you a drum roll on Demolition Man?
No.
Ryan, what do you give Demolition Man?
I'm gonna say 5, just because it was made in the 90s.
5 because it was made in the 90s. Now, I think I'm going to need a little clarification on that. Now, you're saying 5 because it was made in the 90s. Is that like a positive or a negative?
It should be a positive.
I think what he's...
It would have been 3 or 4 if it wasn't made.
Okay. That's what I thought, but I just wanted a little clarification.
I was going to say, it sounds like anything made in the 90s kind of gets a pity 5 because it was the 90s. They couldn't help it.
It was nice to go back and visit my childhood.
This has me a little curious. Other movies of the 90s, I mean, there's a lot of movies that came out in the 90s that you probably love, right?
Yeah.
But it's just, so I'm just wondering about like as far as the like the effects and stuff like that, where this movie, it seems the fact that it was a little dated really bothered you, and in other movies it's just
Because I actually like this when I was a kid. Like that. What was that movie we were just talking about? The other one was Keanu Reeves.
The Matrix,
No.
Chain Reaction, Johnny Mnemonic.
I hate that movie and I would still get like a 1.
Johnny Mnemonic.
That was made in the 90s. I didn't like it.
This is very curious to me. I want to give you more 90s movies now, just to sort of gauge this.
If there were movies that I liked back then, they would instantly get a higher score just because it took me back to a time where I liked it.
But it seems like there would be a drop, right? It's like when you were a kid and you first saw Demolition Man, your score most likely would have been higher than a 5, right? So these movies are dropping for you as the years go on.
Because I'm learning more about what makes a good movie and what makes a bad movie.
Your taste is more refined now.
Yeah.
Got it.
He's developing the palate.
Yeah, it's understandable.
And the modern palate does not like the 90s. except for a select few. But at least we know with the 90s that we'll always get a pity 5.
Yeah. So if we have a string of like really bad ones, we can just go to a 90s one and be like, okay, well, at least we know he's going to get a 5 on this one.
Exactly.
If I liked it when I was a kid, if I hated it when I was a kid, I'll probably hate it now.
You know, it's funny, like most movies I saw when I was a kid, I liked, no matter what. Like, I just liked everything back then.
Yeah.
I feel like that
That's
there's
pretty much how I am now.
I think it's like that for everybody. Like when you're a kid, you just like everything you see. Like you don't
Well, it's pretty much,
you don't
it literally
understand.
comes down to was the movie boring or not?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Could you remotely understand what was happening on the screen? And if the answer is yes, you're into it.
Yeah, I didn't take movies apart back then either.
I think that's interesting. It's an interesting topic.
It's just pure entertainment.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish I could go back to that and just enjoy every single thing that I watch. Just purely.
Yeah.
All right. Ryan, what do you want to watch for next time?
Comedy.
Chain Reaction.
Chain Reaction starring Keanu Reeves.
Comedy.
Comedy. All right.
All right. Chain Reaction it is.
Well, could be. It could be looked at as a comedy in some regard. I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your picks for Ryan to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet, @FilmPulseKevin, and @MyLegsDon'tWork. And if you have a minute, consider reviewing us on your podcast platform of choice. For Kevin Rakestraw and Ryan Holes, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you later.
Yeah.